Okay, I am referred to as the Chihuahua Sam Squancher. Um, I investigate areas of report. I also do tracking, and I've had some activities and vocals myself, such as whistling, howls, and whoops and stuff like that. And I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about like the communications that you hear out here on the mountains, and like I'm interested in hearing what you're saying about them hunting in packs and stuff like that, and if you can tell me times of days and stuff like that.
It was, what was it, probably 2 years ago. There was so much activity back there. I went out for my last call of the night on the back porch, and there was so much activity I came in and got hurt because there was so much going on. You could hear back there whistling and
Whooping.
a couple of hoops and
What
it sounded
else?
like they were hunting something and moving it, trying to push it through
Yeah.
out in the open somewhere.
Sound like 4 or 5 of them.
It sounded very coordinated, and like there was an intelligence behind it.
So did you hear any kind of like gibberish or talking, or were they just
I did hear something like that, some kind of murmur, but I couldn't make out anything,
Right.
But it was probably like 11:30 at night in the fall.
Okay. So the communication that you hear on top of the mountains, you say that they're communicating back and forth on the tops of the mountains. Can you describe to me what their vocalizations are like? Like,
I've heard just like a whoop, and I've also heard long, drawn out, like howls,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of brings the hair on the back of your neck up.
And you said whistles too, right?
Yeah.
And those whistles are probably long and loud and drawn out too.
I've heard short ones and I've heard long ones too.
So, and you would also say that these are much more of a higher decibel than a human could produce.
Yeah.
With a much
Oh, absolutely.
Way louder than a human can do.
With a much longer air capacity too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way a human could do that. None. And you hear them out there, back there all the time. Especially in the spring, fall, and winter. Not so much this summer.
Oh, so you're having these residents during the winter here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And spring, and fall. I don't know too much about the summer because we always kind of hide in here for the air conditioning. But yeah, we have them. You hear them all the time here.
And you also said that you've heard them imitating other animals.
Mm-hmm.
Heard them imitate birds, cows, dogs, all kinds of stuff.
Nice. So,
Elk.
I hadn't heard that one.
I heard that one.
I actually heard an elk, but
Yeah.
could you say that you have a feeding or a water source very close to you here?
Yes, there's a swamp right
There's-
up behind us.
We got creeks all around us.
Okay.
There's swamps. There's, there are all kind of animals for them to feed off of around here too.
Yeah.
Anything. And that Huckleberry Mountain just right there with all kind of berries and so
Yeah.
they got ample food around here.
Yeah.
Between the wild vegetation and the wildlife and everything else, there's more than enough to sustain an enormous animal.
More or less
we
a
got
group.
grizzlies here too, so if you could support one of those, absolutely you could support something big,
Right.
you know.
And you're not gonna mistake no bear for some of these.
No.
We've had a bear crawl.
We've
up
had
in
bears
camper
up here.
before.
No,
Oh, yeah.
you just said grizzly?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
We had a black bear crawl underneath our camper one time, and you can tell the difference between that and the one that was pushing on the top side.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And so you think they'd be pretty willing to get close enough to humans, obviously.
Enough to let us know that they're there and they need to be respected. You know?
So at one point you also said that you had pine cones thrown at you. Was this violent, or just like something tossed them at you, or?
It was more like a lob. They weren't thrown at a high velocity to try and hurt, but it was like, hey, you're getting too close.
Right.
You know.
So that's kind of where my curiosity is with that, is if they would be violent if you got too close.
You know, we've never had a problem. My family's been here since
1900.
Homesteaded in 1905,
Oh, nice.
and we've owned that property the entire time, and we've never had any violence or anything like that. It's just
Nice.
we know they're there, and we just give them their space. You know.
Have you ever seen them come out of the tree lines
I
or
have.
anything like
I
that?
have.
She has.
When they came out of the tree lines, what did you see?
Well, they're kind of brownish. Some of it was kind of reddish. Some of it was kind of brownish. Some was kind of dark. They are masters at camouflage.
Mhm.
And they just walked out. We were riding our quads through and
Three-wheelers.
or three wheelers,
It was three-wheelers.
whatever. And I smelled something. And I looked up, and it walked right out of the swamp. And I just sat there, stood on the quad or three wheeler, whatever it was, and just watched it. And Mike's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Bit, bit, 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 bit." I couldn't speak. It was insane.
So
It was beautiful, majestic. We have rules, their place and ours, that we do not hunt them.
right. So this smell that you had smelt, was it death, garbage, fishy, body odorish?
And it was kind of a weird smell.
Yeah.
It's not just one category. It's kind of like a whole bunch of weird stuff put together. They have their own unique.
Right.
And we have skunks. We have this. We have that around here.
Oh, lots of stuff.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So
We have bears. We have everything going through this property.
Yeah.
None of that.
in comparison to size, how tall would you think that this could have been?
Over 8 foot. Well over 8 foot. So, and it wasn't that far away, and you could obviously tell it was a boy.
Yeah. Okay, so I asked this question to a lot of people, and many people are, on either side. I'm trying to rule out spiritual aspect, and so for my question is, what you've seen has been purely physical, and what you've heard is all purely physical, and there's nothing spiritual about it, right?
Yeah.
So you would compare it to as a predator out in the woods
Yep.
that is
They do their own thing.
yeah.
They were put here for some reason, and we just,
I got one I wasn't able to tell you before.
well, you didn't put the camera one on.
When I was in my teen years, I was homeschooled, and we did a field trip out to Cheney, Washington, the Turnbull Wildlife Refuge.
Mm-hmm.
I got walking out there and got off by myself at this secluded lake, and off to the backside I could see some disturbance in the soil going down to the water, and I went, and took a closer look, and it was big old footprints going down to the water. Looked like it had rolled around in the mud a little bit and then walked back up, and the footprints were, like at least a good, half foot bigger than my foot at the
Right.
time. And I was like, 14-ish, and hair on the back of my neck stands up, and it's like all dark back in the woods, and I could feel like something was watching me back there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know that
I
feeling.
just beat feet out of there. I was
Right.
like, I had enough, and I didn't talk about that to my mom for about 2 years. She said I was always just silent when I came back and just ghost white.
Have you found any tracks around here from any of your activities?
I haven't seen any. Not that I could say definitely was.
But you say you can take me to a spot where there's some
Physical evidence.
breaks and stuff?
Absolutely.
All
Where
right.
there's some what?
A tree break.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
top. Yeah.
And so is that the same area that you had your
With the
camper? All right, would you mind saying that one more so I can
Yeah,
have that recorded?
It was probably in the 2000s, or no, it was before, in the 90s.
What, the tree breaks?
No. When we were in the campers, probably 95, 96. And we're up there, it's summertime, up in the meadow on our homestead. And their mom and dad in one camper and us in another, probably
Yeah, we just got,
20, 30 feet apart.
yeah.
And during the night, we felt something pushing on our camper, but it didn't feel like it was pushing on the side or rocking from down low. It was pushing up top. You could tell the difference,
Mm-hmm.
in the way it rocks. And it's weird, why would Dad be messing with us in the middle of the night? He must be trying to spook us or something,
Ha ha,
And-
Dad.
And we're like, ha ha ha, and we went to sleep not thinking anything about it. Got up in the morning, I was gonna say something to Dad about why he was messing with the camper in the middle of the night, but I couldn't because he started talking to me first about why were you messing with my camper in the middle of the night? We're like, it wasn't me, and he's like, it wasn't me, and we're like, okay,
And it wasn't just a little push, it was kind of
No,
violent.
it was vigorous, rocking
Yeah.
back and forth, like
It was crazy.
like almost pushing the axle to the limit.
Wow.
It was like
And that takes something of great strength too.
Yeah, and it wasn't
yeah.
down low. I mean, it was at the top. It shook that thing.
So we were gonna rule out a grizzly on that
Yeah, no,
because
No, there was no grizzlies here at the time.
You would have heard claws or
Oh,
something.
yeah, there was
clattering
no-
on them,
maybe
We went out the
even
next morning, there was nothing around those campers.
Yeah.
no prints of
No,
any
nothing.
kind.
Uh-uh.
Right. Okay, so if you're willing to show me the area, then
And then the pine cone incident, where me and you were walking the loop, the pine cone came flying at us, and then we went and got Mom, and the pine cone came right back at us, and we're like, okay, we're out of here. Or the deer leg that we found back there broken.
deer legs. That's something that I find quite often, and I've actually found a vertebrae hanging up in a tree, like something just put it up there on a branch that's too small for any cougar or cat to come
Mhm.
up there with a kill. So yeah, that's something that I have found a lot is the leg breaks. Just
Yeah,
a
I think
single
that's how
leg.
they grab them. They
Mhm.
grab them and break their legs so they can't get away.
Yeah.
We had another one where there was a squirrel like stuck through a branch
Huh.
and just hanging. Like it was pushed. We actually still have it. The squirrel was actually pushed through the branch.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like that when we had the tree fall and we found that squirrel had been dead in there and decomposed around the branch.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That's
we couldn't
interesting.
explain that one. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't dropped like a bird would, a bird of prey.
Yeah.
Might get distracted by something harassing it and drop it,
Mhm.
and it might land on the branch. It wasn't like that. It's
Something put it
shoved through it.
Oh, wow. So you still have sight of that then?
Yeah, we still have the branch,
Okay.
even though we took the tree down.
Well, I'll conclude this interview as far as this goes, and if you wanted to show me around, then we
Do you
could
want me
do
to go
that.
take them in the Jeep? All we have to do is turn off the stove.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
No worries.